But what do I know? What's up, everybody? It's your favorite hood healer. It's your favorite hood high priestess. It's your favorite motivational dominatrix. It's your favorite auntie, captain, goddess, king, LadySpeech in the place to be. And I want to welcome you back to my channel. Welcome you back to my channel. You could be anywhere in the world. As a matter of fact, you are somewhere in the world. You are also sharing a little bit of time and a little bit of space with me. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. Yes, I do. Your time and space is currency. Your attention is currency, valuable currency. So thank you for spending a little bit of that on me. If you like what I'm doing, if you like what you see, if you are feeling any of this, if you are feeling any or all of me, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the notifications bell so you can keep up with all of these shenanigans and happenings and goings ons and things. There's a lot that goes on in this channel. We're just going to continue to do whatever. Me and the spirits are going to continue to do whatever we do over here. So keep up, baby, keep up. Now, let's get into this video, shall we? What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? All right, y'all. So, this is a vlog. I am a guest on a podcast called But What Do I Know? This is the third time I have been a guest on this podcast, and I'm on my way to be a guest in person. Now, this is not the first time. This ain't my first rodeo, baby, when it comes to podcasts. This is not my first rodeo. I have participated by phone. I have participated in person. I have been interviewed online via Zoom and all that good stuff. So I happen to be in the same state with this person, and so I'm going to go and film in person with them. The two co-hosts of this lovely, lovely podcast are two good friends of mine that I have known for years. Like I said, I've been on this podcast before. They've done some remodeling, some revamping, refresh the energy. So I look forward to this new format. And tonight's topic is gonna be a doozy, baby. It's going to be a doozy, okay? You're gonna wanna make sure you follow me on Facebook. If you're on the Book of Faces, make sure you follow me. I have an artist page called LadySpeech, so I will repost this podcast on there. I think they primarily broadcast through that space and form. And if I can tweet it out, I'll do all of that. I'll tweet it. I will put it on all of the social media platforms that I possibly can. But tonight's gonna be a good one, y'all. Tonight we're talking about this Dave Chappelle special. Now, I haven't really shared my thoughts about things on social media. I think a lot of things. I'm part of the alphabet mafia, pansexual. I'm the P in the LGBTQIA. The P is silent sometimes, but not in real life. So I'm part of the alphabet mafia, and I definitely got my thoughts about things. So we're gonna get into it tonight. This is gonna be the first time I address this publicly. And like I said, I'm filming this evening. You're gonna catch, this vlog is gonna be about, of course, before. I'm not gonna film anything, during, I'm gonna leave all of that for you to see. You'll see it, raw and uncut, you'll see all of it. But I will film when I get there, and I will film my thoughts the next day, okay? I have taken some notes. So I've got my phone, I've gathered myself together, and I'm running a little bit late, so I'm going to stop this right here, and the next time you'll see me, we'll be in a whole different scenario. We'll be in a whole different scenario. What do I know? What's up, everybody? We in the building, and we're going to begin taping this episode of But What Do I Know? But before we begin, I want to introduce you to this whole entire setup. I already told you that I've been on this podcast before, and the two times it's been amazing. First off, first episode, I talked about sexuality. Y'all know, or maybe you didn't. I am a former sex educator and all that good stuff. So we talked about all of the things in regards regards to sexuality, and the second episode had everything to do with being a part of the alphabet mafia. I'm pansexual, gender fluid, never forget, never forget. So I came from that perspective, and I was on a panel with a transgender woman, and I was also on the panel with a bisexual drag queen. It was a good episode. It was a good episode. Watch that description box below, because I'm going to link all of the things in that description box. Now, let me introduce you to these good people who are the co-hosts of this wonderful podcast. Before I begin, I gotta say, these are my people. Y'all are really dope in the comments, and I appreciate that. And I shouldn't have to say this, but I will say this. Don't get wild! I'll beat your ass in the comments. Just kidding, not really. Anyway, these are my people. I've known these folks for years. They're my friends in real life. They're my friends in real life, okay? So first off, I want to introduce you to, let me say both of them, and then we'll get into it, okay? We got Ruckus in the building, and we got Trey Smith in the building. Now, I'm going to shut the hell up and let them tell you about who they are, where you can find them all across social media, and what this is that we are doing. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's do this. But what do I know? All right, y'all. My people are in the building. This is the setup before we begin. Let me introduce you to the co-host of this show. We have got, first and foremost, Miss Ruckus in the building. And we also got Trey Smith in the building. Let's get to know who these folks are who are co-hosting and doing all the wonderful things tonight. First off, Ruckus, what you got to say? Who are you? What is this show? Where can we find you? What is going on tonight?
Right, the who, what, when, where, I can do the 5 W's. All right, so my name is Ruckus. I am the best, and all the DJs do want to fill my breast.
That's right.
My name is Ruckus. I'm a poet, mostly known as a poet on the Denver scene. I do poetry, comedy, the first comic poet out here, I believe, so I do commentary. Been doing it since 2007 as professionally, but catch my show if you're in Florida. Wednesday and Thursday night I'll be in Miami, and I'll also be in Sunset.
Yes, what dates are those?
That is November 10th, 11th and 12th?
Yes.
Or 10th and 11th.
Okay.
One of those, whatever's Wednesday and Thursday.
All right, and y'all need to know that we will make sure we include all of her contact information. You can look her up on Instagram and all the things, so you can get these exact dates and times.
Absolutely.
Thank you for letting me interrupt. Please continue.
No worries. So like I said, I do commentary, and but what do I know is something I came up with because people don't know I have a serious side. Everybody's always like, you know what I mean, you're smart once they talk to me, and it's really odd because it's a surprise to them, like, oh, you're smart. So I actually wanted to do this podcast to show a little bit of what I know, like, but what do I know? And if I have no idea what I'm talking about, shit, what do I know? Who cares? So I'm gonna bring in the experts that they can talk to you guys, and then hopefully you leave this show with some kind of education. You'll leave with learning something new, but you're also gonna laugh because we don't take any topic seriously.
All right.
There's always a laugh in it, but you can follow me and What Do I Know podcast and things that I do, my characters. I'm a drag king. His name's Slap. He's not around. Something like a player, say the whole thing like a Tribe Called Quest.
Yes.
Me and Slap and everybody else who lives in here at Ruckus 303 on Instagram, Facebook. That's RUKUS 303.
All right. Can you introduce your co-host?
Damn, this man to my left is probably one of the best parts of the What Do I Know podcast. He's the reason you guys laughed in between some of the funny stuff because he's responsible for the clips and the editing. And so my right hand on my left, and please get to know Mr. Trey Smith.
Yes!
Trey Smith. I'm an artist. I've been an artist here for a long damn time. I think the first album I was ever a part of, I was 14 years old. It was pretty cool to, have a picture of yourself in like a Sam Goody and a Music Land and all that stuff. Other than that, I just got into editing the past 4 seasons. Well, no, past 3, because I want to say we did do the one with our network. I just like being creative and coming up with content that makes people laugh. And I'll say that if it makes me laugh uncontrollably for 10 minutes, it's going in there.
Yes.
So as a rule of thumb, whenever I find myself laughing at something, I'm like, oh shit, I can't wait for everyone to see this. My friends recently actually convinced me to make one more project, so I'm going to record one more, like on the next day we go record is actually going to be November 19th. And we'll see what comes of it, but I'm excited to be writing again and be in a headspace where I can really sit down and think of what I want to say. So I look forward to y'all seeing that and hearing it. Y'all can follow me at Dontre Smith. Womack was here 83.
Yes.
Dontre 3000 on Twitter.
Yes.
Dontre on TikTok.
Yes.
I'm all over the place, so you can find me.
Yes.
Definitely find me.
And these are my people in real life, so I follow them. Check my follow list, and you will find them on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, on all of the things now. We're going to get into it. I think we're ready. This was the introduction. Again, y'all, I am not going to show you anything about the episode. You're going to have to tune into that, and I'm going to link all the things in the description box. But what do I know? We're going to begin.
We should probably tell them what they should tune in for.
Yes, do that.
Yes. We don't want to tell you too much about the episodes, but I know you guys want to know how speech feels and what we know about canceling, whether or not to cancel Dave Chappelle.
Okay.
That's what we're going to talk about.
We're talking about it tonight. We're going to get into it. Like I said, in the description box, you will find all the links to watch this episode. But what do I know? This is the vlog. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate you. Now, let's make it do what it do. What's up, y'all? I'm back home after a very good podcast. It was good. I wrote down all the things. I did not get to express all the things, but what I expressed, I'm very proud of. I'm happy with how it worked out. I over-prepared, and in the spirit of over-preparing, I wanted to bring up all the points that I had prepared, but instead I got to bring up the points that were meant to be brought up thoroughly, and I'm happy for that. So this is literally a couple hours, not even a couple hours. What am I talking about? This is literally like 45 minutes after we wrapped up. A couple hours. Good Lord, my time sense is off. But it's about 45 minutes after we have wrapped up. I'm back home. I've traveled here. I'm chilling. I already deconstructed. I did a lot of like putting up my things, putting things in the right places, like getting things situated, kind of decompressing. So I will continue to do that. I'm also doing that in this moment right here. But it was a good podcast. I am going to get up in the morning and speak to you guys about even more in depth about what I felt, about what I shared. I'm going to share some of the points that I did not share because, like I said, this was a I believe, an opportune moment to speak about many of the things that I thought about in regards to this Dave Chappelle business with his last show. We touched on so many good points, and I loved the way we got so in depth. And also, I'm going to take the opportunity on my own platform to speak to some of the things that I didn't get to speak to on the show. So I have a feeling I'm going to speak to this more than once. I have a feeling that this is going to be one of 2 or 3 or 4 videos, a series. Not like a super long series, but like a couple videos. And I look forward to it. But on that note, I'm tired. Oh my God, I'm tired. Today was a good day. I got a lot of things done. And now I'm at the end. Ooh, Lord, I'm at the end. Today was a lot of mental energy. And it was good. And now I'm done. I will see you all in the next part of this video. Bye. All right, y'all. It is officially the day after the podcast. I am feeling well rested and all the way recharged, fine, free, and all kinds of fabulous, baby. So, thoughts about the podcast the day after. I think it went great. I think we covered everything we needed to cover. I think that this conversation is nuanced and broad, and that there is a lot more things we could have touched on. I think there's a lot more points we could have brought up. I think that there's things that we could have clarified even more, even further. I think there's a lot of things we could have explored more. But I think we did a good job with the time that we had and what we were working with. I stand behind everything that I said. I trust that if I said something that was offensive or not good or ignorant, that I will be called out and checked on that. And in the spirit of learning, in the spirit of improving, I'm always down for that. I'm always down to be challenged. I'm always down to unlearn things that are problematic so that I can learn things that make me a better person. So all in all, I still stand behind everything that I said. I think I brought up some good points. I did over prepare. So as much as I did bring up, there was a few things that I did not get to bring up that I am going to cover a little bit in this part of the video. Okay, so once again, I want to say shout out to Ruckus, as well as shout out to Trey. Shout out to Ruckus and shout out to Trey for having me on the show. This was my third time's the charm. I have enjoyed it each and every time. It has been a vastly different experience every single time that I have gotten on there, and I just appreciate it. I believe we have a really good chemistry. I enjoy speaking with them. Also, I've known them for forever. We've been peoples for a long time, so it's always a good and easy conversation with those two. Okay, just to remind you that this will be airing on the Book of Faces November the 8th. If you follow me on Facebook, and you can definitely get to that link in my link tree, which will be posted in the description box. But if you follow me on the Book of Faces, I will post that episode as soon as it is made available to me. And if I'm able to link the episode in this video's description box, I will do that as well. Okay? Okay. So let's get into some of the points that I did not get to make. Once again, please make sure you watch that podcast and support them, because I made some really good points there. But I also want to go over some things that I didn't kind of get to talk about last night. So, of course, as you know, for the whole episode, I've mentioned this. We are speaking about Dave Chappelle's latest his last stand-up special on Netflix, which is called The Closer. A lot of you guys know that this has been met with a lot of controversy, particularly from the trans community. A lot of folks in the trans community have been in an uproar for very good reasons. So let's get into it, okay? My critique on this Dave Chappelle stand-up special. In the special, he says several times, and in my opinion, in a non-joking manner, he speaks to the fact that he is very much transphobic. There was a part of the special where he says straight up that he actually, because he's not a man, because he's not a woman, and because he's not trans, he actually has no business speaking to or about trans issues and woman issues. So that's the first point. That's the first point right there. Dave is very aware of what he's doing, and he did it on purpose, in my opinion. He's extremely intelligent. Comedy, you have to be very intelligent to be successful at comedy. Making people laugh is a very hard thing to do, and Dave has mastered that. He is a master at his craft. He was intentional about putting those transphobic jokes in there. He was intentional about offending trans people. He's been intentional about that, okay? That's the first point. He says that number one, he has no business speaking to these issues, and number two, he shouldn't be saying anything. Point number one, that's exactly right. You shouldn't be speaking about these issues. You're not a part of the community. He had no business joking in the way he joked about the trans community. I do understand that the job of a comedian is to bring up controversial issues. I think that why his jokes did not land with a lot of a lot of the trans communities, because he has no nuance. And he has no nuance because he's not a part of the community, and he has no, up till now, he hasn't expressed any desire to truly learn from the trans community. One of the parts that I had a problem with in his movement, and I'm referencing my notes, so you might see me look down. It's on my phone, so you might see me. If you see me messing with my phone, I'm getting to my notes. One of the things that I had a problem with in the stand-up special is the fact that the way he set up in the beginning of his set, he very much separated black issues and gay issues, black issues and trans issues, which leaves out black people who sit in the intersection, okay? I am someone who sits in the intersection of blackness and queerness. I am pansexual, which means I date everyone. I have dated cisgendered people. I date lesbians. I date other gay people. I date trans people. I date non-binary people. I date other gender fluid people. I date androgynous people. I date everyone. I'm attracted to spirits. I am... How you identify really doesn't matter to me. It is important, but how you identify is not a deal breaker in regards to my attraction to you, okay? How you identify as far as gender and how you identify as far as sexuality, I can work with everything and anything, okay? And if I'm attracted to you, I'm attracted to you, all right? What he did in the way he set up his set leaves those of us who sit in that intersection voiceless. He very much in the beginning, the way he spoke to the gay issues and the black issues as if they're separate. And more research should have been had. Something that I don't think Dave Chappelle and a lot of you don't realize is that black and indigenous, trans, and gay people have been at the forefront of every liberation movement of our people. I want to remind you that during the civil rights movement, Bayard Rustin was gay. And he was an integral part of the civil rights movement. He worked alongside Martin Luther King. I want to remind you that the Black Lives Matter movement in its inception was started by black queer women. When it comes to black issues, we, as gay, as trans, as lesbian, as gender fluid people have been at the forefront of black issues the entire time because we're black. At the forefront of the gay movement in America, that was black trans women, Latinx trans women, black and brown lesbians who were at the forefront of Stonewall and the movements, the gay pride movements and the gay liberation movement in America. It was a black trans woman who started that riot, and it was black lesbian and Latinx women who were right behind them, throwing punches, throwing down, and banging with the police in the name of human rights, in the name of pride, in the name of gay liberation in America. His special left out that integral piece of history, and he separated us as if there are not black people who are gay and trans. In a lot of his stand-up, he spoke to, and he was very clear when he said, my problem is with white people. And he spoke to the racism in the gay community from outside of the community. Now, as a black man who has experienced racism at anybody's hands, he's allowed to speak about that. But because he separated the black and the trans community, because the way he set it up, what he has failed to do is actually listen to those of us in the community. Because here's the thing, as someone who stands in the intersection of blackness and a different sexuality and gender identification, I get treated bad by racist people who are part of the LGBTQIA community, and I also get treated bad by heteronormative cisgendered black people. Dave spoke to his experience as if he was inside of the community being discriminated. He's not. He's no part of the community. A lot of the experiences Dave referenced with the gay community was his experience with white gay people. Again, because he left out and he did not, because he pit the black and the gay community as if there's no intersections between us, that left a gaping hole. Nuance. A lot of the things he joked about lacked nuance because there was no education around these things. In a part of his stand-up, he spoke about he gave an example of a formerly enslaved African in America who, right around Juneteenth, when everybody was liberated, this enslaved person was gifted at farming, and he was given his freedom. Well, he was also given a plot of land by his master, and he ended up cultivating this land and doing great. He ended up buying slaves himself, and when he bought the slaves, he ended up treating the slaves even worse than what his white counterparts. It was so bad that even the white masters were like, my goodness, you are absolutely unnecessarily brutal. This is a true story. Dave Chappelle told that story. I thought it was interesting that he told that story in the middle of his stand-up. And for me, what I connected to is that Dave was letting us know, in my opinion, that he was that formerly enslaved dude. In the beginning of his stand-up, Dave opens it by saying, I'm rich and famous. So he's on a different plane. Yes, he experiences racism, but he's got two things working in his favor. He's got male privilege. So even though, number one, he is an oppressed person, he also is a privileged person. And number two, classism, because he's in a different tax bracket. He used to be part of the working class, and now he's not. And his jokes towards the trans community and the gay community and women are particularly messed up. In my opinion, he gave that example of the formerly enslaved man as an example of himself. He was telling us blatantly. He was telling us blatantly. He was telling us blatantly. Another thing that I had took issue with in the thing is his commentary on feminism, which again lacked nuance. He did speak to Sojourner Truth, and he did speak to the fact that white feminism has excluded black people and has been excluding black women in femmes since forever. He did make that point, but he didn't make that point, I think, clean enough for me. And once again, my issue with a lot of what he spoke about is he spoke about things from as if he was inside of the club. And you can't. You're not a part of the club. There is a way, because cisgendered people do interact with gay people, with trans people all the time. We are friends, we are co-workers, we are siblings. The intersections do happen all the time. Speak to your experience in that capacity, but do not speak to the experience as if you are inside of the community and you know what goes on inside of the community, because you don't. Because you absolutely do not. Because you absolutely do not. His quotes about feminism lacked nuance and depth, because even though white feminism has historically been toxic when it comes to black, brown, and indigenous women and femmes, black, brown, and indigenous women and femmes and women have had a significant contribution to the feminist movement, even though we are consistently mistreated by the feminist movement. His commentary lacked depth in a lot of cases. And for me, the disappointment around the lack of research, lack of empathy for these communities, and the separation of black people who happen to be queer, trans, gender nonconforming, androgynous, those were issues for me. As brilliant as Dave Chappelle is, I think this latest Netflix special was lazy, in my opinion, due to the lack of research and nuance. I do think that he said blatantly that this was to get a bag. This was to get a check. I think that he got a bag and he got a check at the expense of major people in the black community. He ended his special by saying that he wasn't going to pick up a mic again until he could get on the same page with the LGBTQIA community. Now, I have no idea if that statement was for fun or for show or to try to clean up, or if he meant it or not. But I think he actually needs to make good on that statement and learn. From the way he spoke, I don't think he knows a lot of black gay people. And if he does, he's never really listened to our experiences. In my opinion, he took liberties that he shouldn't have. That special was dangerous for trans people. Black trans women have a life expectancy rate in the United States of about 35 years old. When it comes to who is disproportionately murdered in the community, it's black trans women. Black trans people's lives are in danger on a day-to-day basis. And Dave Chappelle doesn't realize that his comedy, lines from his comedy, are going to be used by straight men to justify hurting trans women. His stance on gender, all of that, the way he presented his opinion, people are going to take that as fact, and they're going to use it to justify hurting black trans women. And this is what he doesn't get. And this is what he doesn't get. In the podcast, I spoke to the fact that Dave Chappelle is a student of Richard Pryor. And I actually enjoy and love Richard Pryor. When we look at the comedy of Richard Pryor and the social comedy of Richard Pryor, he joked from inside of the community. Richard Pryor was conceived by a prostitute and a John. His mother was a prostitute. His father was a John. And he grew up in a lot of space. He grew up in the brothel. And he grew up around a lot of questionable things. When you hear Richard Pryor's comedy, you hear his life reflected in his comedy. He joked from inside of the room. And his comedy was revolutionary, and it was funny because it gave commentary. It gave social commentary that was very real. And he used humor to expose issues and to expose the landscape that he was actually a part of. That's where I think Dave missed the point. You're not a part of the community. And you have no desire to be. You have no inclination to be. The way he joked about things was unnecessary, and it was dangerous. There are a lot of people who are hell-bent on hurting gay people and trans people, and they're going to use his words as fuel. Do I think Dave Chappelle needs to be canceled? I actually don't believe in cancel culture. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Y'all will not cancel him. You won't. In order to effectively cancel people, there needs to be an agreement. And we're never going to come to an agreement. Do I think he needs to be held accountable for his actions? Yes. Do I think he has a lot to learn? Yes. Is there apologies and amends to make? Yes. Is there an understanding that he needs to come to? Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I hope that that last line of the comedy special wasn't for show. I hope he absolutely meant what he said. I hope he does end up sitting down with black trans people, with Latinx trans people, with indigenous people, with black gay people to speak about these issues. I hope he can learn and grow. Am I holding out any hope that that's going to happen? I absolutely don't think it is. Again, that man has got millions of dollars. He does not give a shit. I do not think he will put in the effort to actually become a better person. I don't. I don't. I don't. I don't. Do I think he could have done better? Yes. I think he could have done a lot better. I think he could have done a whole lot better. The fact is, there are going to be people who are ignorant, who are going to use what he says and do other things with it. And Dave knows this. He knows this. This is the reason why he left Comedy Central. He was making comedy in order to comment on and contribute commentary to the state of the world. And a big reason why he left Comedy Central was because he was watching white people, people of no color, he was watching white people miss the point of the comedy. He knows what his words can do in the minds of the wrong people. He knows. I think he got a bag. I think he was concerned about his money. And he did so at the expense of a community. Dave is a reflection of America. So if you cancel Dave, you're gonna have to cancel all of America. For me, Dave spotlighted the issues that we have to work on in our community. Dave spoke to a mentality that a lot of brothers walk around with. For me, I took that special as a blueprint for what I need to work on in my community. Ultimately, Dave is black and Dave belongs to me. All black people belong to me. The black community belongs to each other. And that special is a blueprint for the work that I do. I'm going to take that special and I'm going to do the work in my community to continue to educate, to continue to advocate for my siblings, for my brothers and sisters. We have a long way to go. We have a long way to go. A long way to go. All I can do is continue to educate myself, unlearn, relearn, and do as best as I can. One last thing before we end this video. Everybody is transphobic. You are transphobic. I am transphobic. Everybody's transphobic. Everybody is anti-black. Everybody is anti-feminine. Everybody is fat-phobic. Everybody has been taught misogynoir. And for those in the back, misogynoir is misogyny that is specifically directed at black women and black femmes. Everybody is these things because we exist in a society that is capitalistic, based off of a slave economy, and colonial. These two things are key components of white supremacy. Fat phobia, anti-blackness, xenophobia, racism, fat phobia, transphobia, homophobia, anti-femininity, all of those, anti-indigeneity, all of those are key components to white supremacy. If you are involved, if you've been influenced by a Western society, you are these things. And it is important for us to realize this. You must work every day to be anti-racist. You must work every day to decolonize. You must work every day to dismantle the negative thoughts that white supremacy has indoctrinated into all of us. We are all problematic. I want to remind you of that. And yes, there is varying degrees of it, but we are all problematic. And we all have things to work on. So work on those things every day. Prioritize decolonization. Prioritize re-indigenization. Prioritize unlearning. Prioritize learning. All right, y'all, if you made it to the end of this video, gold star for you. This was a very heavy video. This is a controversial subject. I know there's going to be all kinds of discussion in the comments. I want to remind you that you can definitely disagree with me. We do not have to come from the same perspective, but what I will not tolerate is any type of straight up hate in the comments. We can get passionate. We can state our case. We can do all of that. We can do all of that, but disrespect won't be tolerated, okay? Thank you so much for tuning in. Gold star for you. Gold star for you. Gold star for you. Gold star for you. I appreciate all of your support. I appreciate your time and attention. That is valuable currency. So thank you for spending any of that with me. You know the drill. If you like what I'm doing, if you like what you see, if you're feeling any of this, if you're feeling any of me, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. And make sure you hit the notifications bell so you can keep up with all these shenanigans. Now, I usually don't comment on too many world events or, world news on this channel. However, I have opinions. They get strong. Let me know if you want me to do more commentary like this on the channel. Let me know if you enjoyed my take on this. Let me know if you want me to speak more about global issues. Let me know if you want me to speak more about mainstream issues or newsworthy stories. Let me know if you want any type of commentary like that, and we can start putting that into the channel. I appreciate you. Once again, shout out to Trey, shout out to Ruckus, shout out to the What Do I Know podcast. I enjoyed my time on there. It's been a pleasure each and every time, and I just love being guests on podcasts. I love talking about things, so it was awesome. And on that note, I'm gonna let you go. You go ahead and have a good day, a good morning, a good evening, a good afternoon, a good mid-morning, a good mid-afternoon, a good middle of the night. Whenever you are encountering this, have a good one. Have a good week. Have a good day. Have a good month. Have a good season. Have a good rest of the year. Have a good rest of your life. And I will see you in the next video.